Are you ready to transform your normal e-commerce business into one that experiences exponential growth year after year using online advertising? If so, this show is for you. Me and my guests will show you how you too can grow your e-commerce business to 7 or even 8 figures so you can go on more luxurious vacations, spoil yourself and your family, say yes to more opportunities, and become financially free so you never have to worry about money again. Welcome to the E-commerce Performance Marketing Show. Hey, how's it going, guys? Josh Marsden here, host of the E-com Performance Marketing Show. And I've got Jeremy Waddell here, and Jeremy is one of the true veterans of internet marketing. He's been in internet marketing for, I think, 10 plus years. He's been in digital advertising, scaling campaigns and really scaling e-com brands as well for his clients and also brands that he owns as well. So I'm really excited to have him here. He's going to present a lot of value to you in today's episode. So Jeremy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Actually, I have a little beef to pick with you. I'm in Brooklyn. You were in New York. I heard that you went and sat down at Google and you didn't say hi. Like, we could have had a coffee.
I know, man. I know. I thought about that too, like afterwards. But I was literally like touch and go. I was like 36 hours. I was like there and back, you know? I mean, but I'll be out there again and we'll definitely get together.
Cool. And congratulations. That sounds like an amazing opportunity that you had.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to go into Google, New York City, the headquarters, and to, speak on a panel about attribution reporting and how to leverage it in your digital advertising. And yeah, it was great. It was awesome. I loved it.
Cool. Well, yeah, no, again, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, both on and off camera, and I'm excited to get into it. Let's talk about some e-commerce.
Let's do it, man. So what got you started? What's your story?
Yeah, so probably, let's see, it's 2020. At this point, it's been probably somewhere between 12 and 13 or 14 years. Like in the very beginning when Facebook ads weren't even Facebook ads, they were Facebook flyers. They were like little right rail ads that no one had ever seen on the platform before. They were like, 1 cent clicks on, like audiences that we all want in, first world countries. It was the Wild West. There were no rules because no one had ever advertised on Facebook before. And so, like you would imagine, generally some people pushed all of the rules aggressively. And then in order to combat that, Facebook came up with all of the rules that we know and love now and deal with, right?
Right.
That's a great example. Oh, the before and after picture. In a world where you could use a before and after picture for pretty much anything, it always did super well. Just it leads consumers to not feel amazing about how they are. And when people don't feel amazing on the Facebook platform, generally they adjust to make sure that their consumers and their users don't feel horrible.
Yeah.
And since then,
and that's like a typical ad too for like just advertising in general, showing before and after, and you can't even do that on Facebook.
Exactly. And even now, like with my clients, there are ways to get around that, like very subtle ways. We do a lot of videos where it's like, hey, I used to have this problem and now look, I have beautiful long hair. So I can't show the picture of the before and after, but we can shoot a video of someone talking about, what happened before the product and what happened after. Nice. And a great shot of, what after looks like.
Smart.
But yeah, 12
nice.
Years later, mostly on Facebook. To this day, probably like 80%, 70% of the spend that I manage, both with my clients and with other brands, is still Facebook and Instagram. Okay. I'm sure that you see this with clients too. Everyone's like, well, where can we get the cheaper conversions? And generally that ends up being like younger platforms. And so right now the other 30% is generally testing between those younger platforms. I have a little bit of Pinterest running, a little bit of Snapchat. We're doing some work with influencers on TikTok, and that's doing really well.
Wow, nice, man.
Yeah,
nice.
And it's
that's an interesting topic. It actually came up in a conversation with someone recently about TikTok. So, what are your thoughts on TikTok for e-commerce companies? Like, is it relevant? Should they be using it? What have you learned so far from your experience?
So it really depends on where you are as an e-commerce company, right? Like, if you're doing $1 million a year and all of your traffic is organic, then what you should probably do is just cozy up to whatever platform you get all your organic traffic from and figure out a way to do it that way. If you're even younger than that and you haven't really figured out which platform is going to work for you, but you have a product that you know you can sell, then yeah, TikTok is like a great platform to do that. It's going to involve a lot more legwork. It's going to involve, like, ideally sending your product to influencers, reaching out to 100, 20 will get back to you. You'll figure out how to make a deal with 15, but a great piece of creative that influencer creates for your product is golden. Right now, mostly what we're running is it's like apparel, a lot of apparel, and then a lot of beauty products, where influencer will create a piece of content, right? They're like dancing in their kitchen with some fuzzy slippers on, and the video goes kind of viral, and then everyone in the comments is like, hey, where did you get those awesome fuzzy slippers? And that is my client.
Gotcha.
And those things are doing super well, right? Like, nice. I feel like this is PG-ish. Are you familiar with Fuck Jerry?
No, I've heard of it once, but not very familiar with it.
So Fuck Jerry is responsible for the Fire Festival and like blowing it up. And then it was like, it never ever like came to fruition. So all these people bought tickets and they couldn't deliver.
Oh yeah. I watched the documentary on Netflix.
Yeah. So Fuck Jerry does a great job of like integrating the like the advertisers that they get to all of the Instagram accounts that they own. Like there's one that just released with Bloomberg, and Bloomberg was like, hey, my daughter says that you're really cool. Can I pay you? And he's like, that'll be $1 billion. And then the response is, what's your Venmo? Like, they did a great job. And that's just where advertising is going, right? Where I think a lot of people, especially brands, want to be like, hey, I want you to create this specific thing. But ultimately, the influencer knows their audience better than anyone else. And so they need to work with that influencer to create something that their audience is going to like. And ultimately, like, everyone wants those earned views, right?
Right.
Like, it's great to pay for one click and get one click, but you pay an influencer, and instead of getting 500,000 views, you get 1.8 million. Like, yes.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. Totally.
Yeah.
So what are you doing like right now? I know that you mentioned that you're running traffic mostly on, Facebook, Instagram, but you've got obviously TikTok and Pinterest and all those others that you're testing right now. But is it for clients? Is it for yourself? Like, tell the audience a little bit about like what you're currently doing to grow your wealth.
I mean, it just stay busy. I think right now probably 40% of my time are brands that I own. At this point, there are 6. And then the other 60% is on 2 large clients that I've had for probably, 3 years.
Nice.
The spend is probably 80% theirs and 20% mine, but I'm working on it.
Oh, that's cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah.
And,
cool.
And ultimately, right, like even as I look at my brands and as I look at my clients' brands, what we've been doing mostly is doing all the things that are kind of challenging for everyone to do, because we know if we do those, the idea that someone is going to try and copy the difficult things is just going to be hard, right? Like, again, I work in the beauty space, and so it is difficult to get a woman who is like over the age of 45 to shoot a testimonial for a product, because she just like doesn't want to do it, right? And so we've very, very aggressively been grabbing those testimonials from women. And so if you don't check out, like, we're probably going to give you a discount, but not necessarily. Maybe the reason that no one buys is because they just don't think it's going to work. And so as we follow you around the internet, we're going to show you 18 different testimonials from women who are talking about all of the things that show up on our customer service tickets. Like, well, is this going to fit in my bag? Actually, glad that you asked. Here's Susan. She loves that it fits in her bag. And here's Stephanie, and she says that it works for people with curly hair. And here's Tina, and she says that it works for women who are over 65. Like, we're just going to grab every single possible reason why you're not going to buy our product, and we're going to show you a person who looks like you and has the same problem as you. Smart. Winning with our products.
Yep. And you could totally do that, obviously with retargeting and just adding like a demographic layer to it.
Yep. And that's literally what we're doing. Like, there's another like big, I guess, I'm not going to call it argument, but maybe disagreement on the internet is about when you fire retargeting pixels, right? Like, I'm a pretty big fan of like Justin Brook, and he loves to say that he's not going to fire his pixel until someone has been on, his page for 10 seconds. I'm completely and utterly in the opposite camp, where if you have decided to come to the page and you at least thought about it, there's probably a reason why you clicked back.
Totally.
Maybe you didn't like the way the product looked, or didn't think that it was for, men and you're a woman, or vice versa, or something. And I'm willing to bet that you at least thought about it. And so I can probably convince you easier than someone that hasn't already clicked on one of my ads.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. I can see both viewpoints there. I mean, I'd be curious to see maybe in some sort of testing, I don't think that's anybody's going to really do this, but it would be nice if there was like a test that showed, the difference in ROI, in ads when you're doing retargeting just Brooks' way or your way,
Yeah.
That would be really cool.
And you're right. It's one of those things where I would love to test. It'd just be very cumbersome.
Yeah, I know. Totally. Well, cool. So I know you have, 12, 13, crazy amount of experience, with everything you've been doing in the internet marketing space. But what's like one like big success, maybe just like a campaign even that you could think of that you could share with the audience that is an e-com where you had this just phenomenal result that was, just blew you away even, and you learned a lot from it, and there was a lot of strategies and tactics maybe in that success that you'd like to share.
Yeah. Let's see. E-com product, a lot of success that I would like to share. So probably, we'll say at this point, maybe like 2 years ago, the other big client that I used to have is Dr. Axe, which is now Asian Nutrition. They're a very large supplement company. They probably do at this point, I don't know, 9 figures. It's like a bunch of really smart people and a great leader. And firstly, like working with that client, the one thing that I noticed was they had a huge advantage because they produce a lot of content for free, right? And so in a world where everyone is bidding against cold traffic, they had, somewhere between 1 and 5 million users every month that were already reading their content. And those people were already super engaged, and selling to them was significantly easier. So when you were trying to get an ROI on advertising spend, it was a lot easier to break even or even, get that 2X because there was a huge group of people that you were selling to that was significantly cheaper. And so you would just dollar cost average the kind of warm people, which is what they call them, to the truly cold ones.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. We've seen that too in several, that's part of our RM5 formula is creating that authority and using content to do that. Because we've seen some phenomenal results with some of our clients over the past 24 months because that's been such a big element in their strategy. So now it's like duplicated with all of our clients.
Yeah. I mean, I think that everyone thinks that, or at least some brands that I've interacted with think that every piece of content needs to sell something. And that's not really the case in my opinion, right? Like you just need to become a person that people go to when they have questions like about or related to your product. Yep. So like if you sell, a knitting handbag and you are the person that everyone goes to when they think knitting handbags, like that's such a great position to be in, right? Yep. And then after you're that person, you can find someone like you or someone like me, and we can help you sell all of those people. But we can't like make you the expert. You need to be the expert first.
Yep. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, this methodology so it applies really primarily to like Facebook. Because like, and Facebook is obviously like, one of the big platforms, when it comes to digital advertising, Google being the other one. But Facebook, I think, needs to be used in the way that we're talking about, where you're creating that, that brand value up front with, cold prospects. And, you might still get some customers that are cold, but you're not banking on that. You're really banking on an actual full marketing journey that you're taking people through. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, and the same thing with YouTube. Like there are a few people that I follow for like personal things that I enjoy. Like we talk about this every morning. I row for an hour. I follow some rowers on YouTube. They're showing me all these ads like, Jeremy, for $10 a month, like I can walk you through step by step the perfect form. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. Here, take my $10.
So wait. Do you row like in like the rivers in New York?
So it's a little bit cold to do that right now. And so now it's inside. But yeah, I
Oh, okay,
probably get
cool.
out
Okay.
like when it's warm, maybe like once a week. It's just like kind of a pain. Also, New York water is not amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
it looks like it isn't. Yeah. Yeah. When I was in New York City, for that 36 hours, I
yeah.
went on like a 9-mile jog and it was cold. I was layered up too. I was layered up. Like I had several layers of pants. I had several layers on top, but I had no gloves. And so my hands were like taking it the whole time. It was rough. I had a few times I had to put my hands in my like sweater as I'm jogging, just to keep them warm, but it's all good. It's all good.
Nice.
But anyway, I bring that up just because I looked at the water as I'm jogging and I noticed the water was not, anything you'd like to jump into.
I agree. Let's see. What was the question? The question was, oh, great campaigns. So yeah, I remember a good one. So one of the problems, again, I work in like the health and beauty space, a lot of which is in supplements. And one of the problems with supplements is flavor, right? Like there's no way that customer can try all of the flavors and then customer gets overwhelmed and instead of buying one, they buy none and they bounce, right? So how do you handle this problem and make sure people are checking out and make sure that they're happy with the choice? So after like very aggressively pushing Dr. Axe, they eventually released these like little packets, right? And so we sold everyone like 5 little packets of all of the different flavors. And if you bought the 5 little packets, we would give them to you for free as long as you bought a $50 gift card, which was the price of one of the like full-size containers.
Ooh, smart.
And so that solved all of our problems. It also meant that I had this massive retargeting audience of all of the people who had seen one of the flavors and had not checked out. They already knew that, this thing was $42 and that normally we didn't do this, but right now we were going to do this. It was a massive success. And also from like a P&L perspective, it was a challenge to get people to use the gift cards.
Really?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 months later, like maybe only 50% of them had redeemed the gift cards. And so then we had to poke them again to redeem the gift cards.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But still, I like the offer and it's smart because like you said, there's a lot of decision paralysis that comes from options. And with something of that nature where they have to try it and see how it tastes, and they can't obviously if they're seeing it, unless they go to a store and they somehow test it. That's a really smart offer to sell a gift card to them along with like basically a sample pack of like 5 different flavors, so this way they can check them all out.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously each brand is different, but this is why I push very hard for supplements that do not have a flavor and are just good for you. Some clients like that, some clients don't. But ultimately, like people are choosing this to get a desired outcome, right? And if like it doesn't taste like Fruity Pebbles and they still want the outcome, they're still going to do it.
Yeah. I can't imagine a supplement, like a protein supplement tasting like Fruity Pebbles.
There's a guy who lives on my hall, and his protein powder, I can tell because he gets it sent in the mail, and it comes in this crazy box, and it's flavored like Cinnamon Crunch maybe, or like Gushers, like something that is definitely like very childish. And he is not a child, but I think he enjoys it because I see him order it over and over again.
That's
so
awesome.
Who knows?
That's awesome. Yeah, well, cinnamon protein's really good. I used to go to One Stop Nutrition and get like a specific smoothie made, and I'd always have them use like that protein that was like a cinnamon protein. It tasted so good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent, but it's all good.
It is.
Well, is there any other like strategies or tactics that maybe come to mind that you wouldn't mind sharing? I mean, you've already shared 2 awesome ones, which I appreciate, but I just thought I would grill you for one more.
Yeah. On the advertising side or on the e-commerce side, so with all of my clients, with both of them, what we've done is like very slowly we've taken on everything. So initially we started with just all of the advertising, and then we took over all of the advertising and the email, and now we also manage the store. So we have complete control over everything. And that becomes very necessary when you're trying to scale average order value, which is like the other part of paid advertising that is going to make or break you, right? Like if everyone's checking out for $30, it's just going to be really hard to make paid advertising work at $30.
Mm-hmm.
And so normally one of our first steps is to institute decent upsells. Generally the upsell that works that is completely counterintuitive is more of the same thing, right? So like if you bought one, well, we're going to offer you a 20% discount if you buy 3 more.
Yep.
And again, if it's something that's consumable, like the idea that someone's going to buy 3 months worth or 4 months worth just means that they need to stick to it for 4 months. And generally, like as 2 people that are decently healthy, we know that if you stick to something for a week, you're probably not going to see any change.
Yep.
If you stick to something for 4 months, like you're probably going to see a little change. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people think that, like selling someone more of your product isn't on the up and up, but I see it as the exact opposite way. Where like you are just making sure that this person is in it at least to see some decent change, right? If they buy one, it's probably not going to change their life. If you buy 3 and you stick to it for 3 months, like your life is probably going to get better.
Yeah, totally. It makes sense. Well, cool. Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought up how important it is to really focus on average order value because, in order for you to get paid advertising to work, you need to have a significant AOV that you've achieved, in your e-commerce store. So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the part that I have no idea why, but just gets less focus, right? Everyone's like, oh, more customers. Like, wait, so more customers and you need to increase the amount of money that you get from each customer. Like both of them are maybe just as equally important.
Right. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I would even venture to say that it's actually more important to have your AOV really in check versus just trying to get new customer acquisition because, if you have a strong AOV, then the risk of you spending advertising dollars on Facebook or any other platform to get customers is lower. And then on top of that, you can also scale if you have a significant AOV that can cover that. Because you and I both know that as you scale, you're going to spend more to acquire a customer. It's just going to happen.
You are. And that's one of the hardest conversations to have people that don't deal heavily with the internet. They're like, but when we order more, don't we get a discount? In a word, no.
Do we get a discount on advertising? Oh, man.
No, that is not how this works. Like, I understand why you think it's this way, but that is not how it works.
I know. Unfortunately. Nope. Sorry. Zuckerberg wants our money.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely had that conversation at least a dozen times.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Has there ever been a stressful, kind of challenging moment that you've been through with either clients or your own e-com brands that you learned a lot from that comes to mind that you wouldn't mind sharing?
So many. Let's see. So as I have a pretty heavy affiliate experience, right? And affiliate just generally means that I manage all the ad spend, monitor the conversion rate, but ultimately the 2 parts that make a brand that I didn't have to deal with were customer service and forecasting product, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so when I started my first e-commerce store, the forecasting product part was a little bit of a challenge. I mean, probably everyone else orders in bulk from China, and then you have to forecast how many units you're going to spend or how many units you're going to sell per day, and then have a 30-day lead time.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened is this year, I bought a bunch of inventory in December, thinking that I had enough inventory to go through Q1. And then as January 1st started out, I spent 300% more on advertising than I thought I would because I was getting great ROI because a ton of other people had been forecasting even worse than me and had run out. And then you have Chinese New Year, and then you have all of this coronavirus stuff. And so all of my competitors are running out of inventory. And so I'm spending significantly more than I thought I would, and I'll probably run out of inventory in March.
Yeah.
The
opportunities.
It is. And I can't complain, but at the same time, I don't think I could have foreseen this. This is just a problem that I'm going to have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, what are you going to do at this point? What's your game plan, you think?
So slowly but surely, I've been increasing the prices of my product by 10% to see if that influences conversion rate. Nice. And then at some point, I'm probably just going to have to stop advertising for a while.
Yeah. Just until you get your inventory picked back up, basically.
Yeah. The other option, I guess, is that you just put a very large disclaimer like under the checkout button that says like, hey, like this is a pre-order. We're going to deliver your product in like 90 days. But I did a little test with that. Customer service complaints like jumped significantly.
Really?
The
Wow. Hmm.
Yeah, like the like delivery rate on my Facebook page went from like a 4.6 to like a 3.2, and I was like, no. Yeah.
Gotcha. So,
Um,
hmm. So do you turn off your ads completely, or do you just keep them like down to kind of a lifeline, so to speak? Like, how do you handle that?
if I were to turn off ads, I mean, yeah, so I wouldn't completely turn them off. They're like, we'll call them whales maybe that I'm constantly running ads to.
Okay.
So I'll take my customer list and chop off like maybe the top 10%, and generally
Hmm.
those top 10% have given me like I don't know, like 25% of revenue,
Yep.
and I'm constantly running ads to those people.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Like generally volume discounts, like specials. Sometimes, like if I'm feeling really generous, I'll give them stuff for free. Like if someone
Yep.
is 30x your lifetime value of a normal customer, like obviously I'm going to treat them well. Sometimes
Totally. Yeah.
I've called a few of them. They're always blown away. Like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to talk to you.
That's awesome. No, that's great. And you know what I love about what I'm hearing, and what I think
Yeah,
the audience should really learn from you here, is that you're really showing how you have a strategy you basically follow to really leverage 80/20. Like the top 20% of your customer list that are giving you 80% of your results. And you're going the extra mile with those people, and you're
yeah,
making more offers to them, and you're calling them, and all that good stuff. You're loving them basically, and they're loving you back by purchasing more.
yeah. And again, like this is one of those things that is maybe not super scalable, but is something that no one else is going to do.
Yep. Yep. And it's a sustainable business, though. When you have a
Yeah,
customer list that's loyal, that keeps coming back, and you're putting that effort into creating that loyalty, you
yeah,
have a sustainable business, and that's an awesome thing.
yeah. And also, like obviously as a business, I would like these people to purchase more, but there are other things that I want from them too, like all of these video testimonials. And generally, like that's when you ask someone for a video testimonial, like on the
Yep.
phone, like,
Yep.
"Hey, I'm
Totally.
so glad that you had a great experience with our brand. I'm so happy that you're a customer. I was just wondering if maybe you could tell everyone else why you're a customer and why you've been so happy with the brand." Oh, that sounds
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. That's cool. I'm glad that you shared that. I'm glad you talked about that because, like you said earlier, a lot of people get so caught up in just new customer acquisition that they forget about the customers that they have.
Yeah,
And what you're talking about is just so like fundamental, really, when it comes to creating a successful, sustainable business, is really taking care of your customers.
yeah. And ultimately, like those are the people that it is easiest to sell more to, right? Like
Right.
as people who own agencies, like I know that. Like the
Yep.
best customers in the world are people who have given me like some money in the past and had a great experience. Like there's
Yep.
no one in the world that does better than that. Why on earth
Yep.
would I not utilize that?
Yep. Totally, man. Agreed. Totally agree. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, and we're getting to the end of our time here. So I just want to transition over into our fun kind of bonus round that we do on every episode. So let me tell you about this. So basically, the idea here is you want to answer each question with only one word.
Okay.
That's the challenge. Okay. So, what caused your biggest e-com success to date?
Um, one word.
One.
I'm gonna cheat. Customer appreciation, customer service.
No, just appreciation. You could just said
Okay,
appreciation.
appreciation.
Okay,
All right,
I just
I'm
helped
on
you
it.
out.
Only
All
one
right.
word. Only one word. I
Okay,
can't
I can't
cheat.
do that for anybody else. Can't do that again. Okay, what advice do you have for other e-com business owners?
um, dedication.
Cool. Okay, and how would you describe yourself?
Curious.
And what do you see in your future?
Complications.
Complications. Okay. I'm not even going to wonder what that means, but okay. All right. That's cool. So, how can, people that are watching this episode, how can they follow you, learn more from you? What's the best way for them to reach out and become part of your audience?
Yeah. So I'm on Twitter. I post probably like once every 3 months at Jeremy Waddell. JeremyWaddell.com is in the mix, and so that will probably be live in maybe like a week or two, and then I will start putting out content. I'm also on Instagram. Generally, those are like e-commerce rants. I think people think that they're entertaining.
Yep. Did you say you're starting like a personal brand, like a website?
Yeah.
Nice.
So not really to like generate an audience, but more so to reach out to people in the industry.
Yep.
I have some friends who aren't super, public, but they have active Twitters, and that's just been a great way for other people to reach out and say hello. And so I think in 2020, I'm going to make an effort to do that.
That's smart, man. Yeah, that's great.
Share some learnings, say hi. Maybe in the future, if I have a blog, you'll come and say hello and have lunch with me when you're in New York.
Instead of just coming through, touch and go.
Exactly.
Hey, I was just in New York. I just left.
See you later. Bye.
I was waving at you in the plane. No, I hear you, man. It was funny you bring that up because I'm actually going to be starting up my own kind of personal brand site too. Yeah. Because I've got this new program that's going to be launching soon that's separate from the agency. So really excited for that. But, a lot of work over the next 30, 45 days.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm trying to basically just like check off this large list between now and TNC.
Cool.
Yep. Well, great. Well, hey, thanks so much, man, for being on the show. It was an awesome episode as always. It was always, a pleasure, connecting and chatting with you. And guys, definitely follow Jeremy, especially when his personal brand launches this week. Learn from him. He's a true veteran of the digital marketing industry, and he knows his crap. I was going to say something else, but gotta keep it PG. But Jeremy, thank you so much for being on the show. Truly appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you for having me. Enjoy your Monday.
Thank you for tuning into the e-commerce performance marketing show. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment with a timestamp of your favorite part and share it with a friend. Until our next episode, here's to you and the success of your e-commerce business.